Hi and welcome to another Fat for Weight Loss video. I love wearing crazy shirts and today I'm showing you how to start the ketogenic diet for weight loss. Let's get started. I've asked so many people the question, how do you start the ketogenic diet? And the most popular responses I got was the tips that I'm going to show you in this video. So there are 5 tips, so you're going to want to stick around and wait for that very last one because there's going to be some really important information in there. But the first tip I want to talk to you about is keeping it simple. Tip number 1, you want to keep the ketogenic diet really simple. That is how you are going to optimize for weight loss on the ketogenic diet. So how do you keep the ketogenic diet simple with all of the different questions and all of the different people out there trying to tell you that it's either wrong or you're not doing it right? Well, all you need to do is find a few simple recipes that you're going to repeat each week and you're going to repeat each day that will help you stick to the ketogenic diet even if you're trying to do it by yourself. Now, the one I recommend for breakfast is bulletproof coffee. Now, all that is, it's 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons of fat, and it is a long black coffee. So you can get this at a coffee shop. All you need to do is take some butter with you or some MCT oil or whatever you want. But generally, the easiest way to start is just by introducing heavy cream. So adding heavy cream to a black coffee with no sugar, that is essentially your hacked together bulletproof coffee. Now, I suggest if you are using this for breakfast, I suggest adding 2 or 3 tablespoons of cream to your coffee. That will make it around 300 or 400 calories, which is generally about right for most people for breakfast. And that is going to provide you lunch is one of those meals where it can easily be a trip up on the ketogenic diet, or it can be a trip up on any sort of diet. You want to either be eating leftovers from the night before or make some kind of salad. Those 2 options are your best options for lunchtime on the ketogenic diet if you want to optimize for weight loss, because salad is actually, it has a lot of fiber in it, it has a lot of nutrients in it as well, and it has lots of volume to it. So the volume is going to keep you full longer. It's going to make you feel full longer. And if you're having leftovers, then you want to be eating whatever you had for dinner the previous night. But generally, if you're going to work on a Monday, salads are the best option. So what do you eat for dinner? Okay, so if you think about some really simple options that you already eat for dinner in your normal diet, think about steak, think about chicken, think about beef or ground beef, mince, we like to call it here in Australia. If you think about those different options that you already have for dinner, then all you need to do is switch those to be a ketogenic version. So it's very, very simple to do that. If you haven't watched my video on how to make any recipe keto, I suggest you go and do that. But if you want to just keep it really, really simple, use what you already know how to cook and just make it ketogenic. So by doing that, you will make it a ketogenic meal for dinner, and so you can take the leftovers for that for lunch. And now, the really simple way to make any meal ketogenic is by adding more fats to the meal. So by adding more olive oil, more coconut oil, more fats than you generally would to your meal from prior to being keto. And then what you want to do is you want to slightly limit the amount of protein that you're having. So generally, the palm of your hand is a very good indicator on how much protein you should be eating. So whether that's steak, whether that's a piece of chicken, and you want to again increase the fats for that meal. So adding olive oil, adding cheese, adding anything that is a high fat content that doesn't have a lot of carbs in it. Now, the next part of that is also reducing the carbohydrates. So if you would usually have pasta or rice or potatoes or something like that, you can't actually do that on the ketogenic diet. You need to switch that to something like miracle noodles, and that is in the description below. You can rice cauliflower, so it's basically small chopped up cauliflower bits that resemble rice, and that's really delicious. And you can also, instead of using potatoes, you can use radishes, or you can use Brussels sprouts, or you can use broccoli or asparagus, or try and keep the vegetables that you do eat above the ground. So anything that comes from above the ground and not below the ground. And now, on the ketogenic diet for weight loss, you want to eliminate fruit. You can have some berries here and there, but generally the guide is to be pretty strict with that. No fruit, no apples, no oranges, because what they have in them is a sugar called fructose. And fructose is a sugar that hits your liver and it actually pulls you out of ketosis quicker than almost any other sugar, because you are trying to deplete your sugar levels throughout the ketogenic diet, and the last one to go is your liver. So your liver contains sugar that helps keep your body alive and keep your body moving. But what happens is if you eat fruit on the ketogenic diet, you're essentially topping up your liver sugar, and that one's the hardest to get rid of. So definitely try and avoid fruit as much as possible. So the second tip I have for you is keeping your electrolytes up. Now, what are electrolytes? Electrolytes are basically a mix of different types of salts that help your body stay alive. Now, the electrolytes that are most important on the ketogenic diet are salt, potassium, and magnesium, okay? So those three things, if you can get a good ratio of those three things, then that is the simplest way to do the ketogenic diet for weight loss. So what I recommend is using something like light salt here in Australia, or you can get new salt in America. And basically that was created out of fear of salt for most people. So they started reducing the amount of salt in salt and adding potassium to it. So that salt is a good mix between sodium chloride, which is salt, and potassium. You can supplement magnesium. That is really beneficial on the ketogenic diet. Otherwise, you can try and get all of these electrolytes from the food that you eat, but it is actually quite hard and probably requires the use of a nutritionalist that will help you do that. And there is a meal plan that I've linked to below that will help you do that as well. But in any case, if you want to keep this simple, just use light salt, a squeeze of lemon, and supplement with magnesium. Take that once a day and you will be totally okay to keep going on the ketogenic diet. You will avoid the keto flu. You will avoid all sorts of headaches that you could get on the ketogenic diet by reducing your carbohydrates, and it will just help make you feel better. So tip number 3 is persistence. Now, what do I mean by persistence on the ketogenic diet? Well, on any sort of diet, you want to be setting a goal, you want to be setting a time frame, and you also want to be setting some kind of stakes that help you stick to that time frame and that goal. If you are trying to lose weight on the ketogenic diet and you know that the ketogenic diet might be beneficial for you, then you need to set a time frame. So what I like to do is set 30 days. If you set 30 days, if you start today and you say in 30 days time, if I am still on the ketogenic diet, that means I am going to reward myself with something. Now, you need to stop rewarding yourself with food, and you need to start rewarding yourself with, either playing with the kids or having a day off or going to the beach or, doing something that you really enjoy. That is going to be your reward instead of rewarding yourself with cake and food and those types of things that eventually come back to bite you on the ketogenic diet. Now, I understand persistence can be a pretty hard thing to just snap up out and say, I'm going to stick to the ketogenic diet for 30 days, no troubles. Now, that hardly happens. The best way I find sticking to the ketogenic diet, especially if you're doing it by yourself, which I do, then if you say to your friend, you say, I'm going to stick to the ketogenic diet, here is $50. If I stick to it for 30 days, could you please give me that $50 back? But if I don't, and if you see me slip up from the ketogenic diet, then that $50 is yours. Persistence when you have loss aversion or when you have something at stake is much easier to stick to than if you're just telling yourself that I'm going to stick to the ketogenic diet. So that is tip number 3. Tip number 4 is nutrition. So when you are on the ketogenic diet and you're trying to lose weight, if you're going out and you're eating Quest bars and you're eating food that isn't real food, the success that you're going to get on the ketogenic diet is probably going to be relatively limited, and you might get to a point where you actually start to stall and your weight loss stalls because you are eating things that aren't real food. If you are eating whole foods, if you are eating things that don't have to have ingredients on the back of the packet, then that is fantastic. If you are doing that, congratulations. If you're not, then that is okay too. You will still experience weight loss on the ketogenic diet, but you will have to try and alter the way you eat and the way you approach food down the track. So if you stick to 30 days, it might be okay for 30 days, but you get to 90 days, 4 months, 5 months, that's where you will start to see stalls, and you'll have to start introducing ways to try and understand how to break through a weight loss stall. So that is tip number 4, eat real food. Tip number 5 is the science behind the ketogenic diet. So because there is a lot of science behind the ketogenic diet, it is actually really easy to go ahead and just do a little bit of learning about it, because inevitably what happens is when you start something that is brand new or very different to what other people are doing, they are going to ask you about it. So to be fueled for those questions and to understand a little bit about it more yourself, I suggest you read 3 books. If I can give you 3 book recommendations and you only read one, that is fantastic. The first book I recommend reading is The Big Fat Surprise by Nina Teicholz. Now, that book, title of that book is in the description below, and all of these books will be as well. So the second book is called Keto Clarity by Jimmy Moore, and that is a fantastic book because it is broken up into very simple language that is easy to understand, especially if you're not a nutritionalist, especially if you don't care too much about why the ketogenic diet was there. You just want to know how to do it and how to understand what is happening in your body when you're going through this diet. That is a great book for that. And also, now this isn't a book, but there is so much information on there that it could almost be a book. Now is the Keto Reddit forum. If you haven't checked out this forum, then it is, go ahead and check that out now. The link is in the description below. But Reddit is basically a forum where things get upvoted and downvoted. So if you ask questions, if you have a question that you might need to get answered, then that is the perfect place to do that, because people on there are very knowledgeable about the ketogenic diet, and they are very helpful in saying that, whether you're doing the right things. So I have a sneaky tip, a bonus tip, if you will, that will help you go through the ketogenic diet and will help you succeed on the ketogenic diet for weight loss. And that is what I call intermittent fasting, or reducing your eating window. Now, it might seem a little bit strange to start eating a high-fat diet, but it also might be a little bit strange to start eating in a shorter window of your day. So what I suggest is trying the ketogenic diet first for a few weeks, and then introducing intermittent fasting, or 1 meal a day. Now those concepts and those tools are very, very effective if you are trying to lose weight on the ketogenic diet, because what happens is that when you eat, your insulin gets spiked, and every time your insulin gets spiked, there is a whole bunch of enzymes, and your body just goes into a food state. You are eating food at that time, so you're not burning food from your body. Now what you're trying to do on the ketogenic diet is you're trying to burn your body fat, right? And you're trying to lose weight, not by losing muscle, but by burning the body fat that you already have. So when you start the ketogenic diet, you don't have to hit the fat macros that everyone talks about. You don't have to hit your calorie requirements for every single day, because you might already have a lot of body fat that you can use on your body already. So intermittent fasting will actually extend the period where you can use body fat. Now, I hope there has been some really fantastic tips in this video for you, and I hope you've got a little bit more insight now about how to start the ketogenic diet and lose weight at the same time without wrecking your body and without being on a yo-yo type diet. Now remember, all of the tips that I spoke to you about: simplicity, keeping it simple, electrolytes, using diet salt or using new salt, which is potassium and sodium chloride, supplementing with magnesium, and squeezing a little bit of lemon in with the salt with the water is a fantastic way to keep your electrolytes up. Now, the persistence, give $50 to your friend, tell them to keep it. If you, for any reason, break the ketogenic diet because you want to be able to stick to it for 30 or 60 or 90 days, that is a great way to keep your persistence up. Nutrition, make sure you are eating real foods. You can eat Quest bars and you can have diet sodas and things, but they are going to ultimately stop your progress down the track. So if you are already doing those things, you would look to trying to move over to whole foods. And then the science behind the ketogenic diet. So make sure you're either reading a book or looking at the Keto Reddit forum, whatever you find easier, and you will start to understand a little bit more about the ketogenic diet, and you will start to understand how you will start to understand the best process for you on how to lose weight on the ketogenic diet. So again, my name is Aaron Day. This has been a Fat for Weight Loss video, and I will see you in the next one.